Hello and welcome back, it's Shrike here with another D&D video, and today I'm going to be talking about how you as a Dungeon Master can make your players lose their mind. I wasn't really sure what to title this video because I'm not sure what to call the thing that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and I thought the easiest way to explain it would to just be show you a clip.
Yeah! Oh my god! No fucking way! No
You
fucking way!
The sound will be fine!
The clip that I just showed you was from the most recent episode of Critical Role, episode 102, and I did make sure to mute the parts that had spoilers, and there won't be any spoilers in this video at all. But as you can see, the players lost their minds. There was a bombshell that was dropped, and yeah, they just went a bit crazy, you might say. And that's what gave me the idea for this video. I wanted to talk about how you as a Dungeon Master can end up at that point where all of your players are losing their mind because a bit of information has just been dropped on them. But before we talk about that, I just want to let you know that I upload D&D videos here on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to improve your game or take part in D&D discussions, please do subscribe and make sure to hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. But when I'm thinking about making one of these moments in my game, I like to break it up into 3 areas. The first of which is the planning area, and then it's the teasing area, and then finally is the reveal area. In this video, I'm going to go through all of them, but before we start going through all of them individually, I want to talk about timing because that sort of encompasses all of them, or at least the last 2. So when you're thinking about your timings when it comes to these teasers and the final reveal, you do have to be somewhat flexible because as a DM, we all know, God knows what the players are going to do. To give you an example, if one of the teasing moments was a bit of information that you wanted the players to acquire, rather than saying at this exact point when they're in this city, in this tavern, this person is going to give them a letter, just say at roughly this point in the campaign, I want them to get that bit of information. And then if they don't go to that tavern and they don't talk to that NPC, it doesn't matter because you could then have it as a note on a dead body later on, or you could have someone that they're interrogating know that bit of information and reveal it to them. There's different ways that you can give them that information. And there's probably going to be a few of you out there thinking, well, if they don't go to that tavern and talk to that NPC, they shouldn't get that information. And that's just not how I play the game as a DM. I like to be quite flexible and change stuff on the fly if I feel like this is better for the story than that. But if you're the type of DM that does like to keep it quite linear from the get-go, and if they don't go to a specific area, they don't get the specific information or items or whatever it is, then go ahead, be my guest. When talking about timings, we should also mention when is the right time, because I do believe that you can do it too early or too late. And if you do it too early, the impact might not be what it could have been. I still think that there's still going to be an impactful moment where the players lose their mind, but it just won't be as impactful as if you'd held it off and given a few more little clues or teases along the way. And if you leave it too late, it could end up that you have to shoehorn and force the information to the players, which might just feel a bit disjointed and not as natural as it should be. So generally, when planning something like this, I like to give them 4 clues or 4 pieces of information before the actual reveal. And that means when they do get the reveal, they can actually put the pieces together when they look back upon the campaign and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. Oh, we could have found this out earlier. Which may or may not be the case. Whereas if you don't give them any sort of clues or any teasers to this reveal, then when it happens, they might just be like, oh, well, I never knew that was going to happen, that's just been thrown on me, and it might just have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth. So now let's talk about the teasers or the clues that you give along the way. So while we're talking about these clues and teasers, I'm just going to make up an example to use throughout so you can see how it is actually applied. So let's say that one of the players' fathers is actually the advisor to the big bad. And they don't know that from the beginning, but that's the reveal that you want them to find out later in the campaign. When you're giving these clues and teasers early on, so the first few of them, make sure to keep it nice and broad. So for example, let's say the player's father is an elf, then when there's a scene with the big bad and their advisor who has a cowl or something covering their face, they can see the elf ears sticking out the sides. Now there's loads of elves in the world, so there's no reason that they would put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, well that must be your father. But later on, when the reveal happens, you can come back to this point and they'll be like, ah, yeah, of course it was my dad's. And then as the campaign goes on, the more clues you give, the more specific you get to it being their father. So start off broad and then get more specific. So for example, if there's a point in the campaign where they go and visit the family of this player, have the father be absent for that time and not really know why, just give them an ambiguous, oh yeah, he's off running errands for his job. And then when the players leave the family and go back to whatever quest line that they were on, something bad has happened that the bad guys have done. And then once again, when the reveal happens later on, they can look back at that and be like, oh, you should have known because your dad was missing. But realistically, they're never going to actually think that. I hope this is helping you to think of ideas for your own campaigns, to put little teasers or little clues along the way so that when that reveal happens, it is a much bigger impact. If you have any specific questions, do put them down in the comments and I'll make sure to give my opinions on them. So now let's talk about the reveal and how to make that as impactful as possible. Now, I do believe that the best way that you can get a reveal is if the players work it out themselves. You as a dungeon master could have an NPC work it out, or a big pull the curtains back and there's the reveal moment, and it still will be impactful and it still will be a good feeling for the players. But I think if you want to try to strive for the optimum wow, then try to make it so that the players work it out. And of course, you can help them along the way. It also helps because they feel like they've achieved something and maybe they've got the upper hand on them now because they've got this extra bit of information. So going forwards, it will make them just feel much better about the campaign. And then by giving them the breadcrumbs of clues along the way, they could look back and be like, oh, we could have got this sooner and we could have stopped this bad thing from happening. And it just adds to the story. And then if you wanted to take it to the next level, you as a DM could be like, oh, I can't believe you found out my plans, and act as if that wasn't what you had actually planned. So they feel even better about themselves. You also have to think about the final clue they're going to get that's going to help them to work out this reveal. Are they going to overhear a conversation? Are they going to find a physical clue that helps them out and put two and two together? Just have a think. It's going to be completely dependent on your situation and your campaign, so I can't give you a specific example, but do put it down in the comments if you want some help with this. So it is editing Shrike here because I didn't realise that my camera had stopped recording and I sat there and did the rest of the video without realising. So I'm just putting on my webcam and the microphone to round up the rest of the video. Luckily, I was pretty close to the end, so it's not too much of a loss. But the last thing I want to say about this is what happens after you've done the reveal. It's important that once you've done the reveal, the players can act upon the information they've just gained. If they were on a quest to go and defeat a dragon, for example, and that's the point when they got the reveal about the player's dad being in this other bad faction, but they still have to deal with this dragon because it's ravaging a village and stuff like that, it's just not going to be right. They're not going to be so invested in going and killing this dragon because they're going to want to go and confront the player's father. So when you plan to do the reveal, make sure that they can actually act on the information afterwards and they don't have something else which is going to put a wall in their way. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to say on the topic. I really hope this has helped you to forge something like this in your campaign. If it has helped you, please do give this video a like. It does help to grow this channel. And make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this about D&D, D&D discussions, D&D help, everything like that. And then ring the bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. But until next time, happy gaming.